Welcome back to the Decidedly Local podcast. And as you can see, we've got a guest today. I am happy to welcome Chris Knight to the podcast. Chris, thanks for being on
Thank
and
you.
going on this journey with me.
I'm
You are
excited.
you're no stranger to media, I guess. I don't know what's your current role? Tell everybody what your current job is.
Sure. I'm the communications director for North Country Community College. I've been there since 2017.
Awesome. And when you're not doing that, you're either at kids' sporting events and other stuff. But the real reason we're here today is to talk about the Harrietstown Rotary Park
Correct.
on Ampersand Avenue next to the Civic Center. Your other assignment in life right now is president. You just tell me what the actual title is. Are you still the president?
I'm president of the Saranac Lake Youth Baseball and Softball Association, and then I'm also president of the committee that we've created to lead this project, which also includes the town of Harrietstown, folks from Kiwanis and the Special Olympics, and Rotary Club and others. So, yeah.
Okay, and I want to go through that. So back up a second. So what we're here to do today is talk about Rotary Park. As everybody knows, it's got a well-used baseball field used by youth baseball, used by the school district. And you approached the town, and you can fill in the blanks here. You approached the town of Harrietstown with some ideas about how to expand the use and make some improvements to the park. Why don't you just kind of give us a little bit of background?
Sure. I think it was actually about a year ago now that I met with the town board to talk about this idea that we had that really was born out of just being in that area for quite a long time and helping to keep the fields up and trying to improve the fields. We raised about $40,000 over the last couple of years to make some improvements to the baseball fields, both Rotary, which is the one next to the Civic Center, and Elks from up the hill off of John Munn Road. But as many people in the community probably remember, there was a outdoor skating rink in the space that we're talking about, right next to the Rotary field and right off of the parking lot for the Civic Center. And over the years, there were people that were maintaining it on a volunteer basis. And in the last probably 5-6 years, though, it has been a challenge to maintain the space for outdoor skating for a lot of reasons. One is just finding the volunteers with the time to do it. It's not an easy job to get up at midnight or be up at midnight when it's going to be as cold as it needs to be to flood the rink and make ice. The winter weather has not been as cooperative or consistent for us. There have been, just a lot of different challenges to keeping that up as a large outdoor skating rink for the community, which is a great thing that a community should have. And the other thing that's been sort of a side thing is that the Civic Center, since the renovation, has had so much public skating. There hasn't been a huge demand for outdoor skating. Like there's regular indoor, great condition public skating going on at our Civic Center. And I think the community is really appreciative of that. So the Youth Baseball and Softball Association saw an opportunity because that space was only being used for an outdoor rink. So it wasn't being used the rest of the year. And the outdoor rink hasn't been happening that much. So we have a growing program and we can use more field space for our program. So we approached the town with this idea of, could we convert part of that outdoor rink space to a combination t-ball, wiffle ball field? So that's one of the components of the project. This would be not the same size as Rotary Field, a smaller field. And some of you may remember as well that we put up a little wiffle ball field that we called Little Fenway there. It was a makeshift wall, a green monster, and people would come all the time.
How could anybody miss it?
We put it in Riverside Park one time back in the day when we first built it, but we'd have to take it up and put it down every year because the rink would have to be flooded, and so we'd stack it away. Like I think I dragged you into it one year helping disassemble the thing, and so this would be a great little space that we could use part of that outdoor rink location for a field. And then, we started to think, okay, what are some other things that could be done there? And I know that people love skating outdoors in the community, and it'd be great to still have that possibility. But could we do it in a way that makes it more efficient, makes it easier to run, and isn't such a big time commitment as flooding that entire rink? So like, well, what if we had a hockey box like the one in, say, Lake Placid in front of the speed skating oval that we could put in this location and have it, you'd have boards around it. And we've also looked into having a refrigeration system where it would be like a mat with coils on it that you would roll out every winter over a concrete pad. And then you could flood it, and that refrigeration would help to keep the surface cold even in times when it warms up a little bit. They have one of these that they used in Ticonderoga last winter for the first time. I think even when it was like 40, 45 degrees, they still had ice, which
Right.
was cool. And then the building that's there now is really in a state of disrepair. It's in rough shape. It was a warming hut for the outdoor skating rink. Now it's just been storage for like our baseball and softball field equipment and game equipment. But what if we turn that building into a really nice pavilion that has picnic tables? We have a bathroom there because there is no public restroom there. We've only had an outhouse over the years, and have a smaller warming hut in there. So that could be another, potential use of the site. And then during this whole discussion about a year ago, when I first presented this idea, the folks that are involved in the Kiwanis Club with the Special Olympics program locally and the local Special Olympics team, the Adirondack Rednecks, they use the infields of our baseball fields to do bocce. They don't have a dedicated bocce court, and bocce is a huge Special Olympics sport for those that aren't familiar, and there are teams from all over the North Country and all over the state and country that compete in bocce. And the town of Plattsburgh had received some funding to build some bocce courts in a park a few years ago. So we're like, okay, maybe we could do that too. So it kind of turned into this really cool project with a lot of different recreational components to it, that some of them are seasonal, some of them are year round, but it takes a space that was not really being used to its fullest extent by the community, a public space, and turns it into a really nice recreational asset for the community. And so that's the idea that we've proposed and that we've been putting out there.
And it, just like you said, really exciting that concepts to use the park, use the space more intensively for a greater variety of purposes. And I think it's awesome. When you came to the town board, everybody was like, yeah, great. That sounds great.
Right.
Easy. Just make it happen.
Yeah.
So then let's transition to the group of people that you've organized into the committee, all the stakeholders, to kind of work on this ongoing project. It's not going to happen overnight. Probably happen in phases. We can talk about that if we have a minute. But
Yep.
can you just talk about the committee structure and the different people that are involved right now?
Sure. Yeah, we recognized right off the bat that obviously the town needed to be involved. So Jordana was the first person that I went to with this idea because it's the town's property, and she's involved in Rotary. Then we went to Rotary and we talked about it at a Rotary Club meeting. And so it slowly started to just kind of galvanize that a few people got really interested in it. And then the Kiwanis Club got interested when we started talking about the potential for bocce courts. So what we've done is we've created a committee of people that is, I'd compare it to, say, Dewey Mountain Friends or the Friends of Moody Pond. It's an organization that is, we're not an incorporated association, but we do have a set of bylaws that we've created to abide by, and we have created officers and so on. So we have myself, we have Jordana representing the town, we have you representing the town, we have from the Rotary Club, Rotary Foundation, Brad Varner's gotten involved. He's involved with Rotary Club and the foundation. Tristan Glanville, who has been a treasurer in this kind of capacity for other local organizations, has gotten involved. And we have Donna as well, Donna Walsh, who's been really involved with the Kiwanis Club and the Special Olympics movement. And so we basically created a structure that will allow us to work with Rotary to raise money, to go out and seek funding, to work with the town, to sort of formalize what was kind of a more ad hoc structure before. So that's allowed us to kind of get the ball rolling with a good group of people that are really working hard to try and find different ways to make this happen.
I know they do their best, but the fact that the Rotary Foundation is involved, they're involved in so many different projects where there needs to be a sponsor, a fiscal sponsor. So to have them involved in this one, just like they always do, they've stepped up, and it's awesome. It's amazing. So let's talk for a minute about funding. The biggest request so far was for an Adirondack Community Smart Growth Grant that the town submitted back in October. How much did we ask for? I
Well,
forgot.
we've asked it to. I think we were hoping for a $300,000 amount, which is, if it's you might remind me of the designation if it's got a specific name,
Transformative, if it's
transformative project.
yes. Yeah.
And then if that is not, that would allow us to to do the hockey box and its components. And if that isn't awarded, then we're hoping for a lesser amount that would provide funds to do the T-ball wiffle ball field as sort of the backup project there. So, when you look at this in stages or in components, the two most expensive projects would be the new pavilion building and the hockey box. On the lesser side of that is the t-ball field and the bocce courts. The bocce courts, we are working to try and get some funding through the state assembly. When Billy Jones was in office, he was working with us to try and secure some funding specifically for that, as he had done through Plattsburgh. So we're hopeful to make that happen. And so, the project itself, if you had all the work done by contractors, not like in kind and everything, you're talking about like a $900,000 project based on the estimates that Joe Garso and Northwoods engineers have put together for us. And Joe has been amazing, by the way, in working with
Yes.
us to try and get all of that information that we had in our heads about what it would take to make this project happen, to have a plan to present with the grant application that we submitted in October. So Joe was terrific on that. And obviously Jamie Konkoski from Labella, who submitted the grant for us, worked with the town and Jordana to make that happen. Yeah, long answer to your question, but that grant was for about $300,000. If we're successful in that, we'll have our fingers crossed on that. We have a backup plan. We also have the funding through the assembly for the bocce courts that we're hopeful will come through. And then we're applying for a couple other smaller grants from some other organizations in the community. And then after that, it's going to be, a community fundraising effort, like has happened for so many projects over the years. And that's why this is a multi-phase, multi-year thing. We're not expecting anything to happen all next year or, in one fell swoop.
But the great thing is that the foundations are in place. There's a
Yeah.
there's a master plan for the park. We know what all the parts are going to be. We have cost estimates. We've got this committee that's being organized, and there's also going to be the opportunity for fundraising. So there will be that kind of that we roll out at some point, and it's all very exciting. So, what would you say the timeline is for starting to for people to be able to be a part of it if they want, as far as
To
fundraising?
contribute to it, do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think our plan is that I think it's important for us to kind of see where these grants come through. So, we're hopeful that by, say, February, March, we might have a status on the Smart Growth Grant and the money from the assembly as well. And that will, tell us kind of where we need to be from a fundraising standpoint, along with any other additional, grant applications we're going to put in between now and then.
So
So I
that's
think
the next big milestone for this project is to see the results of those two funding requests.
I think so. We're
Yeah.
continuing to work as if that money's coming in one form or another, maybe some amount that maybe isn't could be a lesser amount than we've hoped for,
Right.
but we're hopeful that we'll get something. And then, I think we're sensitive to not wanting to start like a fundraiser around the holidays or anything like that. And that,
Yep.
I think come springtime, we'll be ready to begin our fundraising campaign in earnest. And that also gives us some time to really just kind of put together a good fundraising plan and strategy. We're going to be working with some folks that have some experience in that to help us get there. This is a bigger project. Since I got involved with youth baseball, we used to do, like you'd sell raffle tickets and things like
Right.
that. And then
Yep.
a couple of years ago, we did a bigger fundraiser for this $40,000 for the field, and we got that. And so now this is sort of
Very
like the next
successful.
progression of us
Yes.
working with a
Yeah.
lot of great partners to make something happen that's really kind of a bigger thing for the community. So it's going to happen in phases. I'm hopeful that we could potentially break ground on either the bocce courts or the t-ball wiffle ball field or both next spring or
Right.
summer. When you think about it, those are, I don't want to say they're the lower hanging fruit, but you're not talking about building a building. You're not talking about, putting in a big concrete foundation and equipment that you're going to need for refrigeration for the hockey box. Those will be the bigger projects, I think. So, I think we'll definitely see some activity at the site come spring, summer of 2026.
And I think that's important. We don't need to wait until it's all fundraised for. We can make things happen when the resources available and we know what the ultimate game is or the game
Yeah.
plan is.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I'm just going to say thank you because you got
Well,
this whole thing started. I know there's a lot of people behind the scenes with the baseball association and a lot of improvements have been made to both fields like you pointed out. And the community has come together to give you the resources to do that. I love watching the irrigation robot go around the field. That's one of my favorite
yes.
things. If it's
Yeah,
not there, you're there, it seems like all the time. So,
we are there quite a lot. So it's sort of a fun thing, and it's also, just great to do something for the kids in the community. And
yeah,
those fields need to be kept up like all the other ones, that you got to plant some grass once in a while. So
right.
we've been trying to get that, do that work for the community, but also keep an eye on the bigger things that are needed. And that's kind of one of the cool things about all this happening now is when you look at all the different projects in that area that have happened or are in the works over the last few years with the Civic Center renovation. I mean, we've got a state of the art, Civic Center right now, which is
It's
incredible.
amazing.
You've got a whole series of mountain bike park trails that have been built back off of John Munn Road, the pump track that's there. There is a dog park there that is getting so much use now. Everybody loves the dog park. There's the rail trail to get us to all of that with a new bridge that was just built from the rail trail to
That's
those mountain
right.
bike trails. And so, this is just going to be one more great recreational asset for the community in this particular area. And I think people will really appreciate it and enjoy it for years to come. I don't think I mentioned the playground, did I? No,
The
there's a new
playground. How could you
playground.
forget the playground? Yes.
We were there raking
Breaking the mulch.
the mulch
Yep.
that day. So
No,
yeah, people.
it's all coming together and it's
Yep,
taken a lot of people a lot and a lot of effort to get to where we're at. And I'm really excited that you've brought together this group of people for this next project. Obviously, when you have a larger group with different interests, it makes the whole thing better. So I can't wait to be a part of it and see where it all goes. But maybe we'll have to check in a few months once we have a little bit better understanding of what the next steps will be.
absolutely. Yeah, I'd be happy to check back, and I appreciate your support and helping us get the word out. And by that time, we'll probably be reaching out to the community a little bit more for some support as well. So thanks for all you've been doing for it.
Okay. Well, thank you. And thanks for being the guinea pig host or guest, I'm sorry, for the podcast. We have more people coming, but I knew you'd be up for it.
I'm
And
always happy
so I
to talk.
appreciate it.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks,
Well,
Jeremy.
sounds good. Thanks.
Yep.
And we'll see you all next time on Decidedly Local.